increasing wave of drug abuse. I don't know where we got it wrong, but in the 60s, 70s,
Good day, viewers. My name is Akimbawale Feoluwa and you're watching Charlian TV. Today we are live at the Lagos State House of Assembly Constituency Stakeholders Summit, which is about drug abuse.
You are all welcome to this special program organized by our distinguished House of Assembly members across Lagos State. It's always been an audible program to feed the pulse of our people and to make that kind of stewardship. And on today's topic, which is increasing wave of drug abuse, the threat to nation building, you are all welcome, sirs. I wish we have a good deliberation on this call. I welcome you all. Thank you.
Members of the Lagos State House of Assembly held their 7th annual stakeholders meeting on the 19th of August 2021, which is the 7th in the series held simultaneously across all the 40 constituencies in Lagos State. This year's 7th annual stakeholders meeting in Ikorodu Constituency 1 was convened at Aquila Event Center, 2S Benson Road, before Ikorodu Local Government Council. This stakeholders meeting is aimed at carrying along the members and residents of their constituency in letting them know how far they have gone and what they intend doing in their ward and constituency.
In last quarter compound, the other time, last quarter premises, every ìbéèrè tó pọ̀ pé kíjọba ṣe fún yín, ó pọ̀ gan tẹ́ sọ, àbí ó pọ̀. Àwọn kan tẹ́ sọ ó pọ̀, a lè gbà sílẹ̀ ìjọ yẹn, à ń sọ fún yín pé a máa fi ránṣẹ́ sí ìjọba àwọn amúṣẹ́ṣe, the governor and the executive, pé kọ́ lè bá wa wo kìíní yẹn. A ti fi àwọn kìíní yẹn ránṣẹ́. Tẹ́ bá wo Ikorodu constituency 1, àwọn kan tá a gbé síwájú ìjọba tí ìjọba dẹ̀ ti ṣe fún wa lára ẹ̀ ní ọba Sẹ́kùmádé road. Kábíyèsí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àbí ẹ̀kọ́ ẹ má ti tó nǹkan ra ilé road. Sẹ́kùmádé road, Ìtàmàgà to Ìjẹ́dẹ́ road is a joint thing between Ikorodu constituency 1 and constituency 2. Mo lè ṣọ́ pẹ̀lẹ́ ìlú máa jáde nínú nǹkan tó ń ṣe fún Ikorodu constituency 2. Sulaiman Soderu street tó jáde sí Haruna tó ti pàtì tipẹ́tipẹ́, a sọ fún wọn pé àwọn aráàlú bínú wọn bá wa ṣe, wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ṣe fún wa. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni Empower Line Road, Òwùtú Ìṣàwò Àrékò, a sọ fún wọn pé tó máa fi parí ẹ̀ ọwọ́ ọ̀gbọ̀dọ̀ dúró mẹ́rin torí àwọn ará Òwùtú inú wọn ò jù sí o, àwọn Ìṣàwò wọ́n ti ẹ̀ ń bínú wọn, ẹ̀dẹ̀ ìgbẹ́ wọn náà kó bẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ṣẹ́ sà, a sọ fún wọn pé tẹ́bá ti ń ṣe ẹ̀ máa fáà náà lójú nílùú wá pé à ń ṣe nǹkan kan. Ó ti ẹ̀jẹ̀ pé kò sí nǹkan tó lè ṣe mọ́lẹ́ṣẹ́ ó ṣe nǹkan kan náà, àwọn aṣọ àdẹ́màdì lọ́kà sí. Òjòkòrò Ìta road wọ́n wà lórí iṣẹ́ lórí yẹn náà. Then palliative repair lórí Ságbó Ìtọ́pẹ́ road tọ́ba tí kò bẹ̀, tọ́ba tí ṣe tọ́mi rò pọ̀ tí lè kó bẹ̀ láti rí. Is a federal road but àwọn Lagos state indigenous ló ń gba orí ẹ̀ kọjá. Ìwé ẹ̀rọ yìí ẹ bá àdínkẹ́ bá wa fẹ́. Kòtò tó ṣe ìwà mẹ́tọ́ lè pààyàn yẹn ẹ bá wa ṣe. Public works is working on that too. Then resurfacing of the following roads. Àwọn ibi tí kìíní wà lóṣìṣì. Aláàjì Fọlọ́runṣọ́ wọn ò jẹ́ kí n gbádùn lórí ọ̀tá ọ̀nà torí ibẹ̀ ni bóyá lé wọn lọ́wọ́ àbẹ̀ bóyá lé ìyàwó wọn lọ́wọ́ àbẹ̀ mi. Wọ́n máa ń pè mí gbogbo ìgbà ní pé ọlọ́rẹ́kù yọ títì ti fẹ́ dá sí méjì níbi àwọn Haúsá yìí, títì ti fẹ́ gé sí méjì, Aláàjì Fọlọ́runṣọ́ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àbí lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ̀bẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀? Wọ́n máa pè mí àdúgbẹ́ pé wọ́n ti bá ṣe ìsọ́fẹ́sì rẹ̀ láti ọ̀tá ọ̀nà títí lọ dé títí ẹ̀wá sí Tẹ̀lẹ́wà, láti Tẹ̀lẹ́wà gba olólòwò jáde sí Alhaji street, àwọn pọ́tò tó wà bẹ̀ public works wọ́n ti bá a ṣe. Bákan náà ni ọ̀nà tó gbá ẹ̀tù rẹ̀ kọjá torí ọmọ bẹ̀ sí ṣe roundabout yẹn ẹ bá pàtẹ́ ọ bá wọn bá wá pọ̀ lójú ìbíṣọ̀. àtẹ́wọ́ fún kábíyèsí. Ayokure is not a politician, but he has political influence.
In this 7th annual stakeholders meeting is the need to address the raging problem of drug abuse that have drawn concern in Lagos State. In a bid to manage and curb the situation, the Lagos State House of Assembly has held a theme for this year's edition, which is Increasing Wave of Drug Abuse, a Threat to Nation Building, and it is aimed at sensitizing residents, teachers, students, parents, religious leaders, professional bodies, civil servants, and community leaders. The matter had long been source of grave concern to the leadership and members of the House, for which the House had exhaustively debated and passed various resolutions to address same, such as need to curb the sales and consumption of hazardous liquid substance.
The way forward is for us to learn from the past experience. Where we got it wrong on the drugs, we should start from home. Our parents, they should look after their walls. The work is solely on the hands of our parents. If the parents can partner with the teachers, we go a long way. It will go a long way. And most of the drugs we are talking about, if the government can make a policy that these drugs cannot be purchased from off shelf, that they have to make prescriptions for them, and it will help. The children will not have access to it because no doctor will just write a prescription for them to go and buy all these drugs.
The theme for this event, Increasing Wave of Drug Abuse, a Threat to Nation Building, was aimed at sensitizing all residents in the state.
NDLEA, NDLEA is here to do presentation láti ṣe àfihàn fún wa lórí ipa tí ìbàjẹ́ tó wà nínú egbògi olóró táwọn ọ̀dọ́ ń mu nísìnyí. Gbogbo ẹkùn 40 tàà ní pátá ní NDLEA ti fún wa ní èèyàn kọ̀ọ̀kan, wọ́n dẹ̀ mú irinṣẹ́ tó máa fi hàn láìpẹ́ sí a máa wo kìíní yẹn lórí láti pé àwọn skul náà bí láti wá ẹ wá ti ṣe kìíní yẹn tán ká tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí jíròrò lórí ẹ̀. Àwọn tó jẹ́ ìbáṣẹ́lọ̀ tó lídà àwọn yẹn wá ó máa bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ láti fi yé wa nǹkan tó jọ àwọn ọmọ rí níléèwé nípa òògùn olóró táwọn ọmọ wa ń mu níléèwé àti ìbàjẹ́ tó wà níbẹ̀ wọ́n máa bá a sọ̀rọ̀ ṣókí lórí ẹ̀.
The presentation of this year is followed by the NDLEA Ikorodu commander, Mr. Isiaka Opeloyeru, talks about the impact, danger, and effects of drug abuse in one's life.
What can be said to be abused? Number one, when you use drugs that are legally prohibited, like cocaine, cannabis, heroin, and others, you are abusing the drug. Then when you take drugs below or above the required prescription, you are abusing the drug, like in the over-the-counter drugs, like paracetamol, chloroquine, all those things. Then again, you are abusing the drug. Drug can be said to be abused when you take drug when it is not medically necessary. You don't have any ailments, you don't decide to take it, let me just take it. So if those three things happens, you are abusing the drug.
What is the government doing, especially when it comes to using of heroin and all these dangerous drugs by the youth? What process or what things are the government doing in order to make this a handicap in the community?
There are a lot of things that government are doing. We have a legislative approach, which is the establishment of a separate agency to fight the menace of illicit drug and trafficking. And that was what led to the establishment of NDLEA by virtue of Decree number 48 of 1989. Now NDLEA Act, Cap N30, Law of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. So the agency is saddled with the responsibility of fighting the use and the sale of illicit drugs, and we are doing wonderfully well.
So how do you feel the parents, or do you feel the parents have the capacity or the capabilities to help curb drug abuse amongst the youth?
Yes, they do. The first agent of socialization happens to be the family. So once the family setting is 40, then the upbringing of the children will be 40. So what we discovered that these days, majority of the parents care less about the upbringing of their children, and they leave them into the hand of all these useless boys. They pay more attention to economic activities, and this is the foundation. Once the foundation is 40, so the children can easily be influenced by all these bad boys. So that family setting is key. So, and from there, schools and other agents of society can now build on that.
According to Honorable S.O.B Agunbiade, who is the majority leader of the Lagos State House of Assembly, said that the increase of drug abuse among the youth in the state and in the community called for aggressive sensitization to arrest the ugly trend that it is causing its citizens and residents.
Do you feel or do you think it is possible to eradicate drug abuse totally amongst our youth and the grassroots level?
It may take time. You see, anything that people can do of their volition, it will take time to erase it. But we can start to stem the tide. If it doesn't increase, if it becomes stagnant, it will be reducing. And once it reduces, it will fizzle out. Drug abuse in our community, the danger to youth, the danger to the society. And that's what we are. Now that we have collected opinions from the people, we will go back as usual, we'll sit down as usual, we will deliberate on it, we will streamline what we have gotten as line of solutions, and these are the things we're going to remit to the executive through a resolution for the executive to now form a direction with it and see what the necessary ministries could do to stem that tide. And we are hopeful that we will achieve the ultimate goal of the town hall meeting.
Charlian TV correspondent got hold of the stakeholders who were present. This is what they had to say in this year's theme at the 7th annual stakeholders meeting held in Ikorodu, constituency 1.
How do you feel about today's stakeholders meeting on drug abuse?
It is quite interesting, very educative, very, very crucial, very, very important. Our children, our youths are indulging themselves in the usage of drugs. And you can discover that a lot of damages are being done, not only to their education, not only to their academics or profession or whatever, but to their lives. A number of them are dying prematurely, a number of them are in rehabilitation centers, a number of them are in psychiatric homes. So this is very important, very timely. And I want to urge parents, we have a big role to play. We must monitor our children from time to time, close marking, close monitoring, and severe counseling.
Sir, do you think the older ones, the senile, do you think they have a hand in how these children turned out to be drug users?
I don't think so. We may have exceptional cases. I don't think so primarily. But the fact remains that parents that are derelicted in their responsibilities to their children, they are encouraging them to go into drugs. Parents that cannot provide for their children, they are encouraging them to go into drugs. Because the fact remains that even in the universities, when you are not doing well, the peers, the group members, they will tell you, don't worry, you have this, you have that, and things will go on fine. And by the time you indulge, once you taste it, that is the problem. To go back is not easily obtainable. So I want to say that parents will have a role to play, the society will have a role to play, the government has a role to play, and everybody must be involved in abuse, elimination of drug abuse.
So, sir, how do you feel we can eradicate drug abuse totally amongst the youth?
First and foremost, they say charity begins from home. We parents, we must start from home. You must monitor your children every time. You must be watchful. You must be very observant. Any little change in their usual characteristics, you should know that something is happening. Then the government has a role to play. Unemployment is also a factor. Devil find works for idle hands. And people are, when they don't have anything to do, they meet with peers, with friends, and they encourage them to do this and do that.
So if they are busy, they have things to do and they are doing very well, they will have little time for drugs. And this goes a long way. The government has been doing, but they have not done enough. They have not done enough. Government should put more efforts, more resources into the fight against drug abuse.
It's long overdue. I like the topic because it will create a lot of awareness, especially at the grassroots level, because the rate at which the drug abuse is escalating is really alarming, especially among the very young people, even the underage.
Ma, how do you think we can curb this drug abuse use amongst our youth? How do you think we can curb it?
Combating it is multi-phased because some of the young people are in school, some are out of school, and in order that we may be able to catch all of them, we need to do more at the level of the parents, family level, because whether the child is in school or out of school, the family comes in. So we really need to educate the parents and even the grandparents, because most of the children, because of the decadence in marriage, most of them end up with their grandparents. So we really need to go deeper, parents and grandparents.
So, Ma, what can you say about pregnant women? We find out that some of them, they abuse drugs. You know, when you say abuse, drug abuse, it's not just about using heroin or Colorado and all of that. Even some paracetamol, they take 4, they take 3. They tell you 2 don't work with them. So what can you say to pregnant mothers about drug abuse, about using drugs?
Really, for the pregnant women, we need to bring on board the traditional birth attendants, because majority of them, they call them alagbo, they go to them. So we need to carry our crusade to those traditional birth attendants. They will educate the women that it is the risk that are in using drugs that are not prescribed for them. For those of them that attend the antenatal clinic, I am sure that nurses and doctors used to educate them on the use of drugs in pregnancy.
So how do you feel we can sensitize our young ones, our youth, those growing, about drug abuse?
Like I said earlier, at the family level, in the church, in the mosque, within the community. So every adult in the community should be educated on it so that the message can be passed down to the younger ones.
So what advice do you have for our youths out there?
For the youths, stay away from drugs, especially hard drugs, because it will destroy your future. You need to be focused and make sure that you are educated. Whether you are you want to become an academic to attend the university or polytechnic, or you want to follow the vocational line, whatever you have decided, you need to stay away from drugs so that you can be focused.
Okay, drug abuse entails when you are asked to, for instance, they ask you to take 2 paracetamol and you went ahead to probably take 4 paracetamol. Probably because of what you are feeling at that point in time, you feel, since doctor said I should take 2 paracetamol, so let me go ahead to take 4 paracetamol so that I can easily get relief of this thing. Or you are asked to do 2 paracetamol and you take 1 paracetamol, thinking 2 might not be good enough for you. So these are what we call drug abuse.
Among the stakeholders that graced the occasion were leaders and members of the ruling All Progressive Party, including the local council chairman in Ikorodu, Ikorodu West, Honorable S.K.O., Ikorodu North, Honorable Banjo Adiola, and Ikorodu Central, Honorable Wasiu Adeshino, all graced this occasion. This year's stakeholders meeting affirmed that the team can never be any meaningful society if the Nigerian youth indulge themselves in drug abuse, because they are the future of tomorrow and the leader of next generation to come. Honorable S.O.B Agunbiade, who is the majority leader of the Lagos State House of Assembly, appealed to parents to support government's war against drug abuse by ensuring that they prevent their children or wards from indulging in vice that may truncate or alter the attainment of their destiny.
We have heard all our dignitaries had to say about drug abuse and how to abate the use of drug abuse amongst our youth, which is prominent today. And of course, we heard what our Honorable S.O.B Agunbiade of Constituency 1 in Ikorodu here had to say in a speech when it comes to drug abuse and what the government too has in stock for those that are so used to these drugs and how to help them, sensitize them to stop them from using these drugs because it is not good for their health. And we can't keep passing that on to generations unborn. So it has been a beautiful one today and I feel so blessed, and it has been a meeting of great prospects. And then of course we know moving on to the future, good things are about to come out of Ikorodu. I remain your humble host, and don't you forget to subscribe to this channel, Charlian TV, and click that notification bell so whenever we post a video, you would always get it ASAP. Signing out.
Thank you for watching Charlian TV.